You've come to the right place if you're looking to create, launch, and scale a high value online training program. I'm your guide, Chris Badgett. I'm the co founder of LifterLMS, the most powerful learning management system for WordPress. Stay to the end. I've got something special for you. Enjoy the show. Hello and welcome back to another episode of LMS Cast. I'm joined by a special guest. His name is Victor Coupe. Victor is an expert in sales. He's an expert in SEO. We're going to dive deep, particularly on sales today, what it is, how to do it differently than you think you have to do it. But first, welcome to the show, Victor.
Thank you, Chris. How are you doing, my friend?
Really great. I had so much fun with you when I was on an episode with you, and I loved your energy. And
Thank you.
I'm a talent scout. It's just something I do. And I was like, this guy is obviously great at sales, but just at a high level for the agencies out there building LMS sites for clients or the course creators and coaches, they have a product or a service they need to sell. What is sales? Like, how do you define it in a way that is probably different than what people are thinking?
Perfect. I think especially in the SEO world, sales is a very delicate talk and conversation overall. And I'm gonna give you a very quick rundown as to why, and then I can come back to your question. I decided to join the SEO world last year, so I'm not even a full. You even presented me as an expert. Thank you so much. But I'm not. I'm just a guy who likes to talk, likes to relate to people, likes to listen, and to really pay attention to what they're saying. And as a bonus, I sell. That's how it works for me. That's how it's been working for almost, oh my God, I think 7 years that since I started doing this. But again, the sales, talking to agencies, talking to people in SEO that might be listening to us right now, sales is very delicate because I don't know exactly when this started, but when I got into the market, it was already a thing. You have a lot of freelancers, especially over on LinkedIn, connecting daily to a lot of people. And once you click accept, you're going to start being slapped all over your face with their pitches. So it's very aggressive in a way that a lot of the market right now is exhausted, really. They're exhausted of going to LinkedIn and seeing those profiles that are, you see, they have some common things in between them. Usually it's younger people. Usually they don't have a lot of information over on their LinkedIn account. Right now, you are able to find AI generated accounts. So AI faces. There is a human being behind it, but it's not going to be like Victor. It's going to be somebody else. So the SEO world, especially when we talk about selling SEO services, selling links, which is a huge product inside of the SEO market, is a very, as I said, delicate one. People are exhausted. People receive emails, DMs, even sometimes phone calls in a daily basis. So how I did it to, how can I say, separate myself from most of the noise, it looks counterintuitive, but I just stopped trying to sell. I stopped pitching. Of course, there's always a moment where you can and you should. The elevator pitch, the thing where it's okay, give me a 20 seconds pitch, that's a good thing for you to practice. And sometimes on elevators, that's a good moment for you to literally pitch somebody. But I learned from my own use and my own time and effort, spending hours and days outreaching people both on email and on LinkedIn to try and sell SEO, I noticed that it doesn't work out. You're gonna find people on YouTube, on articles and blogs saying that of course it does, and of course it must work for somebody out there. Otherwise, this wouldn't be a topic. But when I was trying it, giving a little bit more, I think, details so that people can either mimic or not. When I tried to do this, I tried over the UK, I tried in Portugal. I am living in Portugal, so same language. I tried in Spanish. I speak the three languages by themselves. So Spanish, Portuguese, and English. And I was pitching themselves, those people with their own primary languages. And even so, what I understood was most of them are never going to reply back. Never. They're never going to be bothered to reply back. And now with the information that I just shared, I understand why, because it's 10 new messages every day. But not only that, SEO is has been around for such a long time. It's not the hottest thing in the market right now. Whenever we think of the hottest thing, we think of AI something. We think of a software with AI, we think of fintech, crypto, and go back to AI. That's it. So even ads, I imagine, SEO, influencer, they have been around for a couple of years. So people know who they want to work with. If you want to do SEO, some people already have in their top of mind what's the company that they're going to go after. Influencers, same thing. Paid ads, same thing. Of course, you have new entries every day, you have new companies. There's always going to be somebody breaking from the masses, showcasing that sometimes you may be a different person and this may give you a different result. But coming back to it all, selling SEO, from what I've learned from my time, so only talking about my opinion and my experience, not saying that this is what everybody should be doing, but in my place, it worked by being a nice guy. It worked by genuinely asking, how are you doing in professional terms? So let's pretend I came across a case company in a conference, in an event, in a podcast. I wouldn't be the one to ask them for their metrics or their priorities. I would just ask them, how are you doing right now? How is it going? Are you happy with who you're talking to? Yes, Victor, I'm working with these agency. They are amazing. Awesome. Who are they? Let me see what they're doing. Not I'm not gonna try and steal their customers because there's also a lot of this in the market. No, I just want to learn. I just want to learn from who is doing it in a nice way. See if I can learn from their not mistakes, but from the things that they got and apply it the same way. But again, Chris, if I more than 5 times, Chris, more than 10 times, I promise you, I promise over camera, I don't know exactly how to reply back to your question because people just like talking to me. And I feel like just, again, being there with your mind and your body and literally asking, looking at their eyes, how are you doing? What's going on? This makes so much of a difference in regards to sales because it makes them comfortable. And they start sharing. What I usually said at my meetings was open your heart. Let's pretend we are in a cafe or I'm a Tinder date. I'm a first Tinder date. Tell me about yourself. Tell me about your traumas. Tell me about the things that have happened in the past, those that worked and those that did not work. And then I'm going to tell you how I can see myself getting inside. Maybe I don't. Maybe depending on the conversation. And this is something that a lot of salespeople they don't understand. Sometimes the sale is not for you. Is you can do whatever you want. It's not going to work out. They already have a good supplier, a good provider, a good app, a good solution in house, and that's fine. Just say thank you. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for letting me know that this is working. Thank you for letting me know that this is how you're behaving. Now I'm going to collect myself. I'm going to drink a glass of cold water and I'm going to think maybe I should do that as well. That's how I feel the SEO world is nowadays considering sales.
I have a background in anthropology, and I love different cultures and cultural differences.
Correct.
Tell us about selling in, let's say, the United States, the UK, Europe, South America, Asia.
Perfect.
What are
Perfect.
some of the differences that people may not think about when it comes to selling cross-culturally?
It's something that I never figured out that I would do. If I were to travel 10 years in the past and tell younger Victor that he was gonna be literally selling to all regions of the world, but Antarctica because penguins still do not rank on websites, I would have left 10 years ago. But now I am confident to say that yes, I did it all from all continents, and it is different. Let's talk first about the Americas because I think there is not much of a reason to separate the North from the South, especially talking about Brazil. We Brazilians grow very much into, how can I say this? But North America is like the golden standard for South America. Brazilians want to be Americans. Brazilians wants to live like Americans. And you can even see this today, literally today in the politics version. You have Trump fighting against Brazil's president Lula, and you're going to find people from Brazil defending the United States only because we grow by learning to love the United States. So, why am I saying this? Whenever I needed to sell to either Americans or Brazilians, FOMO would work wonderfully, the fear of missing out. Because the capitalist mindset is way more stronger over on that region. Chris, why are you not doing SEO? Like, is it because, I don't know, you're afraid or something, or you just don't have the money? Ah, Victor, I don't like it. I don't feel like that's useful. I'd rather pay ads and work with ads. Sure, Chris, nice to know. But do you also know that your main competitor is spending money in SEO? What is it that's gonna change for you? Maybe, you see, maybe it's FOMO. Maybe you missing out on SEO will make sure that competitor that you hate will have the Porsche 911 that you don't have, but that you do want to have. Brazilians, and then again, I'm always going to say this, in my opinion, my experience, my time, Brazilians and Americans, they fear missing out very much so, in a way where if you come to them with a good enough strategy and product and service, and you know that their closest competitors, sorry, are indeed utilizing the same service and product, this by itself can turn like a light inside their head and say, okay, maybe let's pay closer attention to this. And then with that said, coming to Europe, whole different beast. As I said, in the Americas, there is more of a sense of urgency, way more of a sense of urgency. In Europe, it's their timing. If they want to, they're going to pick you up. If they want to, they're going to listen to you, but only if they want to. Because if they have something else, even if it's 1% more priority, they are going to prioritize that other thing. Especially whenever we're talking about sales, we talk about cold outreach, because life would be beautiful if we didn't need to cold outreach to anybody. But since we do, it is a huge part of a sales life. So doing cold outreach in Europe, again, with my experience with the companies that I worked for, was also a different beast altogether. In the Americas, the content could be more salesy, as we say, with a CTA about booking a demo, with a CTA about getting started, with a CTA that would convert. In Europe, if you don't give them a cold glass of beer first, you're going to have to work yourself very much hard to make sure that they even read you out. So, how I did it in a way that it worked for me to sell to European companies, events and conferences with Europeans, having beers and pizzas with them is a must for anybody who wants to literally grow themselves in the European market. They value the in person communication way further than the Americans do. The Americans are super great for cold calling. They are more open to the idea of getting a phone call. They are more open to the idea of talking to somebody unknown. Europeans are not like that. They are more closed. They are more in towards their own groups. So finding them in their natural habitat, just like an animal, usually works best. Now, coming to a close, we have the other side here of the world. We have the Asians and the Australians. Let's put them together. This by itself, I feel is, I'm not going to say is a mix, but if it's a Chinese guy, maybe he's going to follow the American mindset a little bit closer because he is more related to Americans. If it's somebody from Vietnam, it goes way more around the European side where you need to be nice, you need to go to the beach with them, have a dinner, have lunch, talk, just be fun, be a nice person to be around. This is also what I find that works in Asia. In Australia, since there is sometimes there's a lack of services in Australia, so they go with what they have. I don't think they have too much to choose from besides of huge spiders and kangaroos. So in Australia, if you are also somebody with a reputation, with a credibility high enough for them to understand that you're good, they will go with it. And in Africa, lastly, coming to Africa, it's growing now. which is great. I love the idea that Africa deserves so much to grow, and it's growing now. You have more companies investing money, buying from there, or even approaching Africans, and they are just lovely people. It's so easy going talking to any African whatsoever. They are, I think, because they have not been used to the idea of being treated good enough. They are just wonderful people to talk to. They are way easier to understand what you're trying to say. And if they don't understand what you're trying to say, they will let it go. So, of course, it always changes. And an American can be shy, an European can be an extrovert. So, it will never be a formula. It will never be something that AI can replicate, which is good. But literally selling to these regions will make sure that you by yourself as a salesperson will have different personas of yourself depending on who you're talking to. It is going to change. It is always going to change. And you need to understand, even with AI today, Chris, if I were starting today and I knew already, or I listened to this podcast and I heard this guy named Victor talking to me about how different it is, I would go to ChatGPT and ask, okay, I'm selling SEO services for Americans and Europeans. What's the difference? The AI will help for sure, but there is a difference, and we must consider that.
This episode of LMS is brought to you by Pop-Up Maker, the most powerful, trusted pop-up solution for WordPress. Whether you're selling online courses or memberships, Pop-Up Maker helps you grow your email list, boost sales conversions, and engage your visitors with highly customizable pop-ups. Imagine creating custom opt-ins, announcements, and promotions that actually convert. I personally use Pop-Up Maker on my LifterLMS websites for lead magnet opt-ins, cart abandonment, upsells, downsells, and guiding users to helpful content. Pop-Up Maker is an essential tool for growing my email list and making more money online through my website. Ready to take your website to the next level? Head on over to wppopupmaker.com/LMScast and save 15% on your order. Discount automatically applies when you visit through that link. Pop-Up Maker also has an awesome free version, so you can just use that as well. Go to wppopupmaker.com/LMScast and save 15% off your order, or get started with the free version now. Get more leads and sales on your website with Pop-Up Maker today. Now back to the episode. There's also B2B versus B2C.
B2C.
I know you got your start in selling iPhones, which
Yes.
business to consumer play, and a business to business play is a different beast. There's also like scale of business. There could be an
Mhm.
enterprise client. Lifter LMS is an example. We have big clients, but we also have what's called a VSB, which is a very small business. It's like an education, entrepreneur, creator type person, but it's still a business. It's just a small one, especially in the beginning. How what did you learn from selling iPhones, and how are B2B versus B2C the same and different?
I think I got it very lucky by starting small because it was, yes, selling iPhones to ordinary people, okay, in city centers, in galleries, in small shopping centers. So we're talking about your mom, we're talking about your kid, we're talking about your neighbor. Literally, we're talking about any kind of people whatsoever. And what I learned, what it taught me, I think instead of what I learned, but what it taught me was how to handle different egos. Because when you're talking B2C, you can't let's only pretend that we're talking B2C. Even inside B2C, there's gonna be an SMB, a middle, and an enterprise, meaning there's gonna be the director who is wearing a tuxedo, who is very successful. There's gonna be that analyst, Victor here, normal guy, knows how to speak to people, knows how to behave, but doesn't have infinite money. And we're gonna have intern Victor, who was me 15 years ago when I only had a minimum wage and I wanted an iPhone. So it's always going to depend. What am I going to sell? What are going to be the benefits? What are going to be the priorities for such people? So by understanding that a mother of two kids prefers battery over performance, but by also understand that the intern Victor prefers gaming over camera, you start understanding that even though you're selling the same product, I'm selling the same set of AirPods. For the
Yeah.
intern guy who is taking a bus and a train and leaves his home by 8 in the morning and coming back at midnight, battery is important because he's not going to have a charger all the time. But if I'm talking to Victor nowadays, who is mostly at home working remotely, sure, battery is important, but it's not the best thing that I want because I have chargers all over my house. So I want quality now. I'm looking for quality. I'm looking for something different. So why am I giving you all these examples? When you take into consideration that B2C has different needs and you apply it to B2B, you're going to see that it's all the same. It's the same. It's people that you're talking to. It's becoming a cliche right now. People buy from people. Yeah, it's true. But it's a cliche, but it's true. So let me give you a real example. This I will never forget. Back in Brazil, we have this company called XP Investments. One of the biggest ones. I think it's the biggest one in regards to trading stocks, all of this fintech world back in Brazil. And I had to sell to XP Investments back in 2020, a little bit before COVID. And I was selling then an influencer platform that I worked at the time called Tagger. I never talked to XP about the cost of the product. I never talked to XP about onboarding. I never talked to them about, I don't know, basic technology about the product itself. No, they wanted to know the ROI. Everybody wants to know the ROI, but it's different when you're talking to an enterprise and an SMB. ROI is a different thing for both of them. For the enterprise level, they're talking about millions and millions and more than 100% in return over investment. That's what makes them tick. When I'm talking to an SMB, if I give the guy 10% of return over investment, it's already a good thing. It's already 10%. So selling iPhones to entry level people and management level people taught me that it's going to be the same. You need to ask the priority. And if you can't ask the priority, it's your job as a salesperson to study the priority, to understand the priority. Because once you do, you have that information, doesn't care. It doesn't like it's not gonna make a difference whatsoever if that person comes as a B2C or as a B2B lead. Everybody has their ROIs, and you need to understand, okay, how big of an ROI do you need to talk to that people in relation to that other people? So you see, again, and I wish there were formulas. I wish there were magic equations that I could just talk here on camera and say, if you're focusing on SMB, B2B sales, you need to do X and Y and Z, and enterprises A, B, and C, but they're all going to be the same. What's going to change in between a small brand and a huge one is what they prioritize, sure, but what you can give them back. If I can only give the enterprise company 10% of return over investment, that's nothing for them. That's literally nothing. For a small one, it is a lot of things. Imagine you taking a huge ROI to a small company. Wow, that's amazing. That's even better. Sometimes life isn't like that. So yeah, it's it's different. Sure, it is. You have a tons of materials showcasing how different it is. How on B2C you have to be more human. On B2B you have to be more about numbers. But if I can tell you this, Chris, I noticed, especially after COVID, that the companies that close the deal with me, they close the deal with me because of support, because of credibility and authority, and because they liked having a good time around with me. Sometimes because they were friends. Okay, let's not pretend that this doesn't exist. Of course it does. Of course it does. Being well connected, being well networked pays too much. But it's always gonna be a case of you understanding first who you're talking to, then applying those settings to your mindset and going to market with that mindset filtered for that specific type of customer. No matter if B2C or B2B, you need to understand what moves them forward. As I said, is it battery for somebody who stays out of home all day long? Or is it quality for somebody who's always nearby a charger and wants to extract the maximum out of the investment? There you go.
Awesome, Victor. I have a challenge I wanted to propose to
Oh,
you.
nice.
It's commonly known in like B2B software companies. There's a challenge with moving from founder-led sales to a sales team and getting
Perfect.
developing a sales function within a business that
Mm,
isn't necessarily founder-led. It's also true for an agency. I know a
true.
lot of agencies who feel like the agency owner always has to do the sales or do the closing. For course creators and subject matter experts, they're like, "It's my brand, it's my authority. I have to do sales." And of course, you have to do that in the beginning when you're a one person
Hmm.
show. And there are great salespeople and not so great salespeople. But how do you help people that are stuck in this like founder led sales cage
Nice.
get out and empower their
Nice.
sales team, find good salespeople, give them what they need to be successful? Let's look at this problem of founder led sales.
I think we can even talk about Kensho, the company that I'm working for right now. Kensho Media is a UK agency that has been working since 2008, and the founder has been the sales guy.
Yeah.
I am the first step towards having a sales team that Kensho is taking right now. So up until literally now, I'm still not selling. It's a very new venture for me. So I'm still learning. I'm still doing a lot of things behind the scenes, but I'm still not going to market to sell. And what's gonna change? Because right now, the customers that Kensho has, they were all acquired through the founders. The founders were there. The founders made sure that it worked, and they're not going to be there anymore because I was hired because the founders don't want to be salespeople. They don't like to talk. They're not extroverts. So they are amazing technical guys, but they're not the social type of people that are always there on stage, on conferences, on podcasts. They don't like this. When I got into my first day and I understood that, as you said so yourself, this company was founder led, the sales efforts were founder led. I immediately asked them, what is it that they managed to give in order to sell? Was it their expertise, or was it just because they were at the right place at the right time? Was it because something else altogether? And then I learned, yes, in their case, this is an SEO agency and an affiliates agency. Having knowledge of what works and what doesn't is very important here. It's most of the service is knowing what you're doing. But I'm not selling my boss's face or his name. No, what I did, what I am going to be doing, and this is something that a lot of people can definitely mimic and copy and go and try themselves up, is I share the knowledge itself without naming the knowledge. So I share that we have iGaming experience since 2008, but I don't share that the person that has the knowledge is the founder. At the end of the day, if I'm doing cold outreach, the lead doesn't know who the founder is nor who the sales team is, right? He doesn't know anything at all. So instead of focusing on a person, on a face, on a history and a name, I took that person and I actually spread them to become this whole company, which is Kenshu. And when somebody asks me, Chris, when you ask me, Victor, what it is that you do? Oh, Chris, we are a company that has been doing SEO and affiliates for iGaming, casinos, bettings, sometimes cryptos and fintechs since 2008. Therefore, we managed to update ourselves a lot of times. We had a lot of mistakes that are now fixed. So if you're starting now and you don't know what's yet to come, the chances of us already been through that thing are very high. So you're gonna buy from me the security, the comfort of knowing that Kensho Media has been doing it since 2008. But let me tell you this, Kensho has not been around since 2008. The founders have. Both of the founders, they have been working with casinos since 2008, and that's proven. But the company itself has 2 to 3 years. So coming to your question and finalizing it, the challenge itself, moving from founder led to team led to product led to service led, whatever. You don't need to remove the founder from the equation. You don't need to remove the knowledge, the expertise, the authority of the founder from the equation. But you can and you should stop talking about the founder if you want to scale, because otherwise we don't want astronomer CEO type of problems here where the CEO is
Right.
going to be, yeah, we don't want that. Let's just take what the CEO has built. Let's just take what the founder has built. He has built so many things. He was there for so many years. We take the history of the man, but we remove the man. We just talk, and by man, a human being can be a woman, of course. And but what I'm saying literally is, let's not disregard the history, but let's talk it in a different pitch. It's not about Chris, it's about Lifter. It's not about the founders here, Alessandro or Tolumi. It's about Kenshu. So, yeah, Kenshu is Alessandro and Tolumi. Lifter is Chris and his team. So, Alessandro and Tolumi, they're always going to be around. They're always going to be a point of the conversation whenever I'm selling. But I'm not going to be selling their faces. I'm not going to be selling their ideas. I'm selling their breakthroughs, their mistakes, their winnings. And of course, once this all came together, here's Kensho Media. Let's work together. The story itself is already very nice to be told. You don't need to be, you don't need to change your mindset altogether. But, and this Alessandro, I think he knows very well, you do need somebody that can understand that very easily. Because one thing that I saw already happening, mostly in Brazil, were salespeople wanting to become bigger than the brand they were selling. This happens. Let's talk about football again. You have players who sometimes feels like they're bigger than the club, and they start charging things on the club. You have Mbappe at PSG, you have Messi at Barcelona, Ronaldo at Real Madrid or Juventus. Don't turn into that guy. You're not Cristiano Ronaldo, you're not Lionel Messi. They were enchanting millions of people all over the world. You're only enchanting your mother, your spouse, and your kid. So, what I would say is if you're a founder, you would look into scale, but you're looking to also step away from the sales machine itself. You are going to have to hire somebody who likes to talk. Yes. And usually this comes easier in some regions, but you are also going to have to share with that salesperson exactly how you made it happen. So that person can take your stories and start sharing that same stories. But instead of Chris did this, it's Lifter does this. This is a thing that, of course, I'm not giving here a full structure of how they can grow, but I think this by itself can be a good starting point.
This is awesome, Victor. As a side note, maybe you should do a course on sales one day just for your personal brand. That would be fun. But
You see, let me actually talk 1 minute about this, Chris. I
yeah,
was this weekend here in a public park in Porto. It was on Sunday. It was 9 p.m. The sun was setting, and we were literally about to leave. Then two guys approached me. It was me, my wife, and my friend, a close friend of mine. The guy approached me and he was like, he was very high, but he was around his 40, 45. He was like, you look like a very nice guy and you look like you know about a techno club around here in Portland. I was like, hi, I know. Good for you. Random dude, I know. But then we were ready to leave and I wanted to leave. Sometimes, even though I like to talk too much, sometimes my battery dies very fast. And they didn't want us to leave. They started talking, and my wife jokes about this ever since. Again, it happened 2 days ago. And she was like, honey, what is it that you're always charming European men? And they're always talking how good you sound, how perfect your English is, and how extrovert you are. And that's the point, Chris. If I were to do a sales course or a course, whatever, it would be about teaching people to be Victor. And I don't want them to, because I don't know what makes me be me. I just am. I just open my mouth without thinking. I just smile to everybody without considering that I should smile or not. I've been assaulted and robbed more than 10 times already in my life because I was too much of a nice guy that sometimes a robber came to me, he asked for the hours. I said it was 2 p.m. He was like, nice cell phone, give it to me. There is, I don't know if this is something that I can put in a course, but I appreciate the comment, of course. It's nice to know that people like how I behave. But if I could tell people what they should do, if I were to go back in time, or if I were to talk to somebody who's young and is starting their own sales life right now, I think if you are going to be doing sales, unfortunately, being introvert might hold you back. You need to like to talk. You need to like to be the center of attention. You need to like to have all eyes around you. You need to like to be a speaker, because this plus a sales role equals success. That's it.
Just to challenge you and push back, that sense and that feeling you have is very similar to the founder-led sales dilemma. Just throwing that
Perfect.
out there because a business has a product, but a business also is a product, and a function
Yeah,
like sales is a product, and so it's that founder-led trap, and I
it
get
is.
that.
It
Um,
is. 100% it is.
Last question for you, love your feedback on this. There's somewhat common knowledge in the course creation space or really selling anything that I'm gonna talk in United States dollars, but basically 500 below 500 or even $1,000, there's a
Mm,
concept of we can do all the sailing with a sales page. I don't need to talk to somebody to buy a $20 course on Udemy
perfect.
or potentially $1,000 course from an influencer that I've been following for years. I trust them. It's fine. Once you get up into the 2,000 to 5,000, you could do a webinar and do like group sales so you can bring that sales process. And then above that, it's considered high ticket. There's definitely
Mm.
be a one-on-one conversation and so on. Just what advice do you have somebody who's trying to figure out how to sell at the different levels? iPhone, as an example, is $1,000 or whatever. It's on the high side of low ticket, but you still talk to people. And Apple has done a lot of marketing and influencing and branding over the years. But at the different price points, what advice do you have?
I think I can do a parallel with iPhone selling, because you have $200 iPhones and you have $1,000 iPhones. Of course, Apple does all the heavy lifting. You don't need to explain why one sells over the other. But one thing that I notice in regards to the pricing gap between the 200 and the 1,000 is, if somebody buys a 200 iPhone, which right now would be what, an iPhone 12, and they don't like it, or battery doesn't last that long, or the camera is not the best, it's okay to let it go because you only spend $200, right? But if you're buying from the newest iPhone, the 16 Pro Max, you want it to do everything. You want it to last longer than a day. You want the pictures to be crystal clear. So if you were to put that into courses, what I would say is Apple, as we all know, huge company, one of the biggest, if not the biggest. They don't need to showcase that their iPhone is good enough for people to buy, right? But here they are every single year doing huge multi-millionaire events only to talk about the newest, most expensive iPhone. So even Apple needs to separate months of their schedule to create an event to showcase the newest iPhone. I think you, as a course seller who is charging $1,000 for a course, should also take the time to put your face around the camera. Now with AI, we have AI avatars, right? You can talk to the camera for 3 minutes within this AI avatar software, and then it's gonna create a video of you talking, but it was never you. Why am I saying this? People are seeing how easy it is to pretend to care, to pretend to be around, to pretend to put your face, to pretend to even go live. Those that don't follow the AI route and still put their human side content up on the internet, on Instagram if you're selling a product, on LinkedIn if you're selling a service. I think this by itself can lead to more sales, because you're going to be building what? Authority. And this is what SEO is all about right now. Google wants all websites and all articles and all blogs to have authority. And what do they say by that? is that they want real humans writing the content. They don't want AI. There is this SEO expert, her name is Lily, and she taught me something that I will never forget about it. Google doesn't want people from the Philippines writing about the top 10 best restaurants in New York. They want New Yorkers who are living in New York for a set amount of days and times to talk about their experience, not TripAdvisor rankings. So if I am and if I can tell that to anybody who is going to be selling $1,000 course before it's high ticket one, bro, sis, put your face around. Show yourself, create an Instagram, be there, go to events, take pictures, go to network round events, shake hands. Just and the more you can do for yourself in regards to authority and to positioning, not even talking about your course, Chris, not even talking about Kensho, it's just showcasing that Victor exists. Because once you exist, you can, what's the term in English? But people can take you for accountability. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
We know where Victor is. We know that Victor is always in this white room. Okay, I'm gonna buy. It makes it easier. It makes it easier for people to buy from Victor, knowing that he's always in this living room, that he's always talking on camera, that he was online in July of 2024 and he's still online in July 2025. It's a thing that pizza places back in Brazil used to do a lot, like since 1998, since 2005, cooking the best pizzas. Yeah, great, because this shows me. And it's fine if it's since 2025, but in 2027, it's going to be 2 years, right? So from day one, put your faces around. From day one, start talking to the company, not to the company, sorry, to the audience as both you, human being, and as the founder of the company. It might not give you quick results. It might not be instant, but if you keep on doing it, just like SEO, if you keep on doing it, if you keep on placing links and articles and keywords, eventually Google's going to showcase you more around the first page. And that's when money will come. I don't see any reason as to why a course seller shouldn't do anything similar to this. So, yeah, that's it. Show your face, be around, go to podcasts, come to Chris's podcast. I think this by itself is what everybody should start and try to do for sure.
Victor, this has been awesome. Thank you for
Same,
dropping so much
same.
wisdom and knowledge around sales. And just where can people find you if they want to connect?
Perfect. They can find me on LinkedIn. I love being on LinkedIn. So this name by itself is a unique name. You can find me over at Victor Julio Coupe on LinkedIn. You're gonna find me at kenshomedia.com as well. I'm working over there, as you can see by the subtitle here. But come on, let's connect on LinkedIn. Send me a message, send me a DM. As long as you are open-heartedly wanting a conversation, I am gonna be there to reply back to it for sure. And of course, I think you can find me at a future episode at Lifters LMS podcast, because I am more than open to being around here to talk more about sales.
Awesome. We'll
Sounds
definitely
good?
have to do that. There's so much more we could go into. We'll have to do a Joe Rogan episode and go for 2.5 hours or something like that. But
I,
Victor,
I, I would be open. I would be open.
thanks for coming on. We really
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Chris. Thank you, Chris, and thank you.
And that's a wrap for this episode of LMS Cast. Did you enjoy that episode? Tell your friends and be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And I've got a gift for you over at lifterlms.com/gift. Go to lifterlms.com/gift. Keep learning, keep taking action, and I'll see you in the next episode.